Why am I in business? Well, my primary reason for being in business is to alleviate pain and suffering, and to contribute to the well-being of people, and to help them regain their well-being and their vitality and their longevity in their life. Many people come to me for pain, and my job is to get rid of that pain and then help them move into the lifestyle they want to live and do what they want to do. So my background, basic science. I worked in science all of my adult career. I started in an emergency room as a lab x-ray tech, and I did that for a while, and then I went to the hospital and I worked as a lab tech, and I got promoted to med tech, so I worked in cellular immunology there. And then my husband was about to get a job that he might be mobile, so I thought, well, maybe I should do something I could get a job in anywhere I went. So I went to nursing school. So then I became a nurse, and I went to labor and delivery nursing and got my master's in nursing and became a clinical nurse specialist in high-risk nursing, labor and delivery, and antepartum, which is pregnancy. So how I got my start in most of what I do now is there. We had a lady in back labor, and back labor is quite painful if you haven't had it. And so this lady was making all kinds of noises through the labor and delivery halls. And we had a medical student on that night who went into her room, and he came back out and she had no more pain. So I said to this guy, what happened? And he said, well, I did acupressure. So I said to myself, self, you need to learn that. So that was in 1983. I have not yet learned acupressure. But what that did was so important to me because it told me that there's something besides needles and drugs that can influence pain. So it really started opening my brain from this narrow Western medical kind of perspective to a perspective that said, oh, there's other possibilities. And then when I went to grad school in nursing, one of my colleagues studied therapeutic touch, which is a nursing-based energy healing modality. And she would take me over to her apartment and she would wave her arms over me, and my eyeballs would get huge and I'd be weirded out, but things seemed to be happening, right? So eventually I came to study that modality. I also studied healing touch, which is another nursing-based modality. And I also studied Reiki, which is a modality that I heard about when I went to massage school. And you might say, well, why did you go to massage school? You were already doing this, clinical nursing. Well, our high-risk pregnant patients, the treatment was bed rest. So we'd put them on bed rest, and they usually were a couple hours or more from home, and they'd be on bed rest. And if you've ever laid on bed rest yourself, you know how your body starts to hurt, and your muscles get tired, and they get weak. And not only did we put them on bed rest, they had to lay on their left side, because that was the best way for the blood supply to get to their baby, right, their fetus. So sometimes they were there for weeks or months. I mean, it took a long time sometimes for them. So we asked physical therapy to come and do some body work for our clients, and they refused because they were pregnant. So it was decided that nurses can do massage. So I, Sybil, could go to massage school, learn massage, come back and set up a program for our nurses to administer massage to our clients. So that's how I got into that aspect. Now, curiously, when I graduated from massage school, my clinical nurse specialist job got downsized. So there I was, sitting on the curb with all my books and all my education and all my learning. And I said, okay, universe, now what? So I hung out my shingle in this office in July 12th, 1996. And I've been here ever since. And it's been really a wonderful, wonderful experience to understand how the body gives birth to its stuck places in so many ways. You know, in labor and delivery, women gave birth to babies, but here on my table, all kinds of bodies give birth to new freedom, new flexibility, less pain, new vitality. And it's really been an interesting and unexpected, delightful experience, you know. So that's how I got where I am. Okay, so how long have I been in business? This massage business started on July 12th, 1996. And I've been in the same room ever since then. So that's about 22 and a half years that I've been here. Additionally, I have another business that I do. It's a business that's called PH Ohio, LLC. And PH stands for Pranic. It's Pranic, healing. And pranic healing is an energy-based healing modality. After I started doing massage therapy, I told you I studied Reiki, I studied Barbara Brannon's technique, I studied therapeutic touch, I started healing touch, I studied all of those modalities. Then I learned about pranic healing, and I went off to that class too. And I fell in love with that modality because it was developed by a man called Choa Kok Sui, who's a Chinese descent Filipino. His family was a family of healers, and he basically studied the ancient arts and sciences of energy healing and compiled them into a very simple and very powerful technique called pranic healing. So I went to this class, and what I loved about it more than anything I'd studied before was that what he did was systematically make all of the technique into a recipe or a protocol. Now, when I worked in labor and delivery, I was the labor and delivery protocol, policy, and procedure queen. That's what I did a lot of. So his having protocols just fit my science brain immediately. So I really fell in love with this modality. Also, my body wasn't very sensitive when I started this. As I told you before, I've been a scientist, very mental, right? Very analytical. So to feel the subtle energy was hard for me. So at the beginning, I would wave my arms around and I would say, "Woman, you're waving your arms around. You really expect something is going to happen because you do that?" And amazingly enough, things kept happening. Amazing things kept happening. So I started a healing clinic, and I took the class in 1997, April, and in March of 98, we started a free healing clinic right here in this building also. So we were going every other week, and in March of 99, we started going weekly. So our clinic's been running weekly for almost 20 years now. And it's a clinic where we do a meditation first, which is meditation that does healing for the person who's doing it, but also it does world healing, because we bless the earth for peace and healing using the prayer of St. Francis of Assisi. So we do that meditation, and then people come in with stress, with pain, with anxiety, with complex, simple diseases, and we wave our arms around them and do healing. Right? So we've been doing that every week now since 1999. So that business called PH Ohio LLC not only runs that clinic, but in addition, since 2000, I've been teaching that technique to people. So I teach the level 1 class. In the level 1 class, people learn basically how to wave their hands around in a way that makes a difference. And we learn how to do that for other people. We learn how to do that for ourselves. We learn how to do that distantly. So you have a loved one far away, or even in a different house and you can't get to them, you can do that. It's like non-local prayer. Larry Dawsey, who's a medical doctor, did a research study many years ago now on local and non-local prayer. And basically that the distant pranic healing is very similar to non-local prayer. So I'm praying for you, but you live in a different place. So that's not local, rather than sitting at your bedside and praying for you. So it's very similar in that aspect. You also learn how to do environmental healing. You've probably experienced a time when you were in an environment that everyone was so stressed that you started feeling stressed too. Or that something about it made you feel really uneasy, or something about it was heavy, and it just made you feel weighed down or sluggish or maybe even irritable. So all of the energy that we have coming from our body, which can be in thoughts, can be in words, it can be just in our vibration, comes out into the environment, and it infects the environment. And so then eventually, if it's saturated enough, that environment starts affecting us. So we learn how to do environmental healing. So if we work in a place, like when people come to my massage table, they expel all kinds of stuck stuff. Could be disease energy, could be traumatic energy, could be accident, trauma, surgical trauma, it could be emotional trauma, emotional stress, any of those things. Just by working on the body, it releases those things. So then the room gets filled with those kinds of energies, right? So it's important for me not only to keep my space clear for everyone else and myself, but then energetically also I need to be aware of my energy body and what I take on for my clients. When I first went to massage school, they said, the lifespan of a massage therapist is only 3 to 4 years. And I thought, well, why is that? You'd go to conferences and people would say, man, I've only been working for a few years and I've got arthritis. And I've been working now for 22 years and more, right? So what's the difference? So the difference is I have been blessed to have the awareness that diseased energy, traumatic energy, injury energy not only comes into my energy field, but it gets physicalized into my into my physical body. And so that's the energy that localizes in their joints and then creates the arthritis. So they're taking on the pain and the disease and the stress of their clients, and it's being absorbed deeply into themselves. So this course that I teach is so important for anyone who's doing work with people, for sure. Doctors, nurses, massage therapists, psychotherapists, psychiatrists. I've had several psychiatrists in my classes. So it was just very exciting to me to have this and have a way to give to the community because of it. Now I also teach the level 2 class, which is similar to the level 1 class, except we add color pranas. So if you split white light through a prism, you get the colors of the rainbow, right? That's what we see, the arch in the sky. So we learn how to make these colors, and different colors have different properties. So say you have stuck energy from an injury, a bruise, say. So one of the colors will go in and it'll chop up that stuck energy. Another one will go in and it'll contract if there's bleeding, or it'll soothe if there's pain. Another one will be very good for infection. It'll help heal the infection. So that's what we learn in the second class. And we learn how to do complex cases like heart disease and COPD, asthma, cancers, very complex diseases. We work with those protocols. And then the last class I teach 2 more actually, but the level 3 class is for mental and emotional well-being. So say you have stress, or say you have trauma, or say you have compulsions, or say you have depressions or addictions. So we learn a technique to pluck those things out of the energy field. If we really embrace that everything is energy, then every thought we have produces an energy. If we keep thinking the thought over and over and over again, then that thought form seems to take a life of its own and starts having an effect on us. We start hearing our own thought coming back to us, which reinforces that, especially if it's a negative belief, right? So we learn about those thought forms, and we learn about other energies that can penetrate or lodge in our energy body and then influence our behavior. So we learn how to remove those and to balance out the energy centers. The important thing to remember, which has been really exciting for me to learn, is that all of our energy centers influence our behavior, and our behavior influences our energy centers. So for example, I didn't really talk to you too much about energy, but there's an energy center right at our solar plexus. That's where we relate with the world. So if you ever get upset, say get irritated or angry or stressed, where do you feel that? You feel it right there, right? You feel it in your stomach, you feel its pain, you feel pressure, whatever, irritability. So where we relate with people there, that's where we relate with the world. If that solar plexus chakra gets cluttered with anger, irritability, jealousy, rage, whatever, then people's personality tends to be kind of grumbly, right? You get the grumblies and the tumblies, you get the grumblies out the mouth, right? But if we keep it strong and we keep it clean, then the qualities of it are courage, assertiveness, so those kinds of qualities that really help us do well in life and progress along our path. So it's very exciting to me to learn about these qualities of all of our energy centers and how they help us grow and develop in ways that help us get where we want or ways that hinder us getting where we want. So we can do those things for ourselves and for other people to help their healing. And then the last one I teach is pranic crystal healing, which is where we use a laser quartz crystal as a healing tool. So it's like a shovel. If you had a shovel, you could dig the earth out if you're digging a hole to plant your flowers or your trees. With the crystal, we can use the crystal to help clean the energy body faster. It's like a high pressure sprayer instead. So those are the things I teach in the classes. And I will tell you they're life transforming. The day the person walks in the class to the day they walk out, just in the level 1, they're different because you get 2 days of healing on yourself and on your classmates. And it's really quite remarkable, the simple things that you can do with the wave of your hand, right? Just wave your hand around and things happen. So it's amazing. So that business is my education company. It's a long way around to get to that story. That's my education company. So they work very well together, those two companies. So those are the 2 companies I have. Well, the advantages of this form of ownership for me are freedom, I would say freedom. lots of flexibility, leverage, so I can leverage my time the way I want. I just love it. You know, you have the ability to be creative. I can try new ideas. I can do lots of things that I felt when I was in a corporate environment that I was confined, which may or may not have been true. It could have been my perception, right? That I couldn't do some of those things. But there were rules and regs and boundaries inside those confines that I did feel confined about. So I just love the freedom of it. Now, I'll tell you, I probably work a lot harder in these businesses than I ever did in my other job, and I worked really hard in my other job. So even though I get freedom, I get to choose the hours I get to lose sleep for. But I love it. I love it. It's really good, and it's very satisfying and very rewarding to see people get light bulbs and see bodies get free of pain and see people who couldn't walk again. You know, it's just so rewarding to see that, and to have the knowledge that the body is so intelligent that with a wave of a hand or with just some rebalancing of the physical, that it can restore itself. That's just powerful, just powerful. Well, the question of how do I market my business is very curious. When I started this business, I just came from the nursing world, from the corporate world, right, in the hospital. And so I really didn't have much knowledge about how you go about doing business. But I had good results. And so people kept referring people to me. So I've run my whole entire massage business on word of mouth. Now, the pranic healing clinic also gives us a good distribution of word of mouth, right? Because people come for pranic healing, they learn about pranic healing, and they learn about the classes and things there, and about the meditations we do. I also do introductory lectures on pranic healing, and so people learn about it there. And we do have a national presence. We have an international presence. It's an international organization. So people have come to me for classes all the way from British Columbia, New York City. I had one lady out of the country, besides just Canada, call me once. She never did come to class, but it's very fascinating to me how far people will travel to get the information that they seek. So that's primarily what I do. I currently have a website for my Comprehensive Vitality, which does have the pranic healing things on it. But those are really my kind of low-tech ways I have right now of marketing. Well, it does make me more visible, right? Because I have the website, it makes me more visible. At least it has the potential to. You know, I have 3 Facebook pages, actually. I have 2 business pages and 1 personal page. But I do have some technology challenges which I have not remedied yet. So hopefully one day those will also be useful for my business. But it's a lot easier to communicate to people. Like I can send a mass email out to people and I can communicate to all of them at once rather than having to call them, or texting even is a really nice thing that I use often. You get to remind people. I would say I don't leverage technology the way that I would like to, but I'm not a complete dinosaur. Okay, so I have various people that I consult depending on what it's for. So for my financial part and my business part of it, I have a business accountant and I also have a bookkeeper. And then I have hired over time, engaged different mentors to help me with business. Like I said, when I first started this, I really had no clue. I come from a service background and that's how I've positioned everything. It doesn't really work with the Fortune 500 brain work though, so I haven't quite made it to that brain work yet, but I need to kind of get to that to meet the expansion goals that I really am seeking. As far as from expertise in medical practice or massage practice or technologies or even in pranic healing, then I consult my teachers and mentors in those areas. There are several master healers in pranic healing. I currently work under the license of the West Coast Pranic Healing Center, which is called the AIAS, the American Institute of Asian Studies. Master Stephen Koh is the director of that center, and he's one of my primary teachers. So he would be one of my mentors. And there's 2 mentors on the East Coast that I go to too, Dr. Glenn Mendoza, who's a neonatologist in New York City in one of the main hospitals there, children's hospitals, and his wife, Marilog Mendoza. So they also are mentors to me as far as advancing my techniques in pranic healing and things like that. So they're mentors in that direction. For massage therapy, when I graduated massage school, I was taught Swedish massage, and I quickly saw that the people coming to me, even though they could benefit by relaxation massage, they really needed relief from their problems. They needed relief from their backaches, their shoulder aches, their traumas, their accidents. And I didn't feel tooled. So I just started seeking out different modalities that would help. So I took neuromuscular techniques. I took trigger point techniques. I took the most recent one, muscle release therapy, which has been the most profound one. It resets the muscles back to the original state before they had the compensation. It's been very, very, very powerful. I can tell you lots of stories about that. But so that's how I sort of do it. So I'm very curious, and I'm always looking for ways to help my clients regain their health and their vitality and their mobility. Mostly is what I see, mobility issues or pain, so I'm always seeking ways, because each person's different. So when you come to me, I'm going to say, talk to me about what's going on with you. What have you tried? What works? What doesn't work? What's your goal? Where would you like to be? And then we just put together a treatment plan. It could be pranic healing. It could be muscle work, body work, manual work. It could be a combination of essential oils. I have a whole bunch of different things that we would make to make your individualized plan for your healing. So it's been very good to have had the opportunity to seek all these things out. Now, my own body has provided some challenges to this to try to find answers too. But I figure if I've got it, someone else has got it. So let me figure out how to take care of this, and then maybe it'll help someone else too. So that's sort of how I get my wisdom. Of course, yes. There are ethical concerns for my type of business. Privacy is one. Confidentiality is another one. I mean, I grew up in the hospital setting. The patient record is private. It's confidential. Right? You don't share it with anyone else. You don't discuss the person with anyone else. Now, if the person gives me permission, because there's other healthcare providers that refer their clients to me, if the client gives me permission to have dialogue with that healthcare provider or with other members of their healthcare team, then I can talk to those people. But otherwise, what they say to me is private. Whatever happens in these four walls stays between me and the client, unless we have permission. Now, if it was an issue of safety, then I'd have to call the EMS, but then it would go outside the walls. But it's very important to me that the person not only have confidentiality to say what they want, and feel that they can trust me to regard what they have to say as sacred. Because I really do. When I talk to someone, I don't want to know that 10 people around me are going to find out about it. I want a confidential relationship. So I need that from a legal perspective, and just from a trusted advisor and therapist perspective. So it's very, very important. And then the other thing, I deal with people's bodies, so I have to be just very integrous about that. And I have to maintain my professional standards and my professional boundaries with that, right? And I think that for safety and trust, those are very important things to maintain. Okay, so to overcome the ethical problems, I do what we just talked about, right? So don't reveal the client's identity. I don't discuss them with other people. Now, I can talk about cases of people who've come into me without identifying them for teaching for my other pranic healers in my classes, or just for helping people understand what I do, because sometimes that's a strange thing. Some of my clients say, she has magic hands. Well, that doesn't really tell you too much what I do. So some of the stories of the healing really explain more about what I do, right? And then I'm very steadfast about my professional decorum for the appointments, and I really stick to the standards and guidelines for ethical practice. That's what I do. Well, like we said before, the marketing channels I use are mostly word of mouth. I also have a website called comprehensivevitality.com, which has a way for you to contact me, and also lists all of the things I do. It describes them and contains some links to some of the practices we do. Where I do most of my connection, though, is through a meetup group. So we have meetup.com/pranic, that's PRANIC -healing-Ohio. So we list all the classes there, we list our meditations there, and all of our events sort of just get listed there. So people can go there and look there. Recently, I've started working with a database management company, and what I'm trying to do is systematize and automate communication with prospective and current clients, which is something that has not been in place yet, and I would think would be very valuable. So. But the services that we offer are several. Our primary service, though, is relieving pain and suffering and or restoring function. That's our primary service. Right? That's our goal. The mission of pranic healing is to alleviate pain and suffering in the world. So here's our corner of the world, and that's our endeavor, to alleviate pain and suffering. This happens on all levels. So it happens on the physical level. It happens in the etheric level, which is the energy body, which is where pranic healing works. It can also work on the mental level, emotional level, and then in the spiritual level. So we work on all levels of those with our clients. And the goal of each individualized program is for the person to be pain-free and regain their vitality in all areas of their life. So your program depends on your personal goals. So it may or may not look like someone else's. What do I contribute my success? That's been a question that I've asked myself for a long time, because I took classes with a lot of my colleagues. We went to massage school together, we went to neuromuscular trigger point therapy together, we went to all these classes together, and people would come to me and they would say, "You're different." And I would say, "How am I different than this person who studied all the same classes I studied?" So over time, what I figured out is what I'm really good at is integrating those modalities to what you need to heal in your body. So what do I attribute my success to is I get results. Okay? I really care about my clients. I really care about their goals, and I have a very well-stocked toolbox. So I can reach in my toolbox and I can pull out. If you need muscle release therapy, you get that. If you need lymphatic, you get that. If you need cranial, you get that. If you need pranic healing, you get that. If you need essential oils, you get that. So whatever you need to help your body restore itself back, that's what you get from me. And the other thing is, my background in nursing has been very, very, very important to this. What I learned in nursing, or what I integrated in nursing, or however the best way to put that is, because I really don't quite get it, is that I learned a ton of knowledge. I have a vast theoretical base. From my undergrad nursing, my first bachelor's is in science and biology and chemistry and psychology. So that's a huge theoretical base. Then I have my nursing base. Then I have my master's in nursing base. And then I have my massage information base, right? And then all the things I stacked on top of that. So this huge database inside my brain, which I never really appreciated for a long time, until I started noticing that I could look at you and I would say, "Oh, well, this is what's going on." And this other person would look at you and they would look at this spot that you complained about, and that's what they would try to heal, when that's not the problem. There's a bigger picture. So what I've come to learn is that I see people from the whole picture, from all the systems, from all the energy levels, from all the things that I've learned, and I can identify what needs to be done. And I never really truly appreciated that till recently. I'd had all that, and I was glad I had all that, but once I started seeing what difference it makes from my colleagues, I recently mentored 10 people into certification as pranic healers, and I think that was really instrumental in helping me identify this, because as I worked with these pranic healers who are trying to become better pranic healers and go through their coursework and go through their clients and ask them questions about, well, if this is what's going on, what are you thinking about? And understanding that they really aren't thinking too much further than what the symptom was, it really gave me a glimpse at the vastness of the depth of my knowledge and my experience too. I've had lots of experience now. So I think that's what makes a difference, and I think that's why I've been successful.